What is good, everybody? I am back again. I filmed the other tutorial back to back, but this time we are going to be taking a look at a Neuro bass that is built specifically from a sine wave. The demonstration that I have prepared for you today is something that I've covered in the past, but I wanted to do it again, and it's just going to be showing you how you can build a complex Neuro bass based off of 3 core concepts: distortion, filtering, compression. Small miscellaneous things. Most of the stuff that is within this bass, which sounds like this, is a combination between all that. Now, it is a little bit complex in the sense that there's a lot of effects that are stacked, but let's go ahead and break down this so that way you can create patches that are like this without feeling like you need to do crazy, super ultra sound design, mix chorus with this flanger and do some kind of twisty knob resampling thing. Nah, you just need to be able to stack stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look. All I have right here is a sine wave. There's no FM or anything else controlling that. There is some detuning right here, so that way it creates kind of like a wide type of sound. But for the most part, everything that is creating the timbre or the harmonics within this is a combination of doing the filtering with distorting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all of these. And I know that it seems excessive, but it's okay, because a lot of times by being excessive, you can actually end up getting some really cool stuff. But let's just start with a little bit of 1% noise and distortion, which sounds like this. As you can see here, I am randomizing that, and most of the randomizations that are on here are just randomizing the cutoff or the distortion amount. But if we go into the next one, you can see that we're going to be doing some more cutting. So you can see that these are also randomized. Can't even tell the difference really. Then we've got another filter that's just doing some boosting. Then we're going to add another distortion to it, and this time it's a sine. Again, same thing. We are changing the bias of this, which either focuses on the low frequencies or the high frequencies. For this, we're also automating or modulating the drive. This part is supposed to be quiet, by the way, so don't worry if you can't hear it. It's just showing you the steps along the way. Then we are doing another boost here to kind of focus on those low mids. And again, for the filter cutoff here, even though I'm randomizing it, you can see that they're all kind of hovering around the same region, and that's because that's where the low roaring type sounds are emitted from. Let's go ahead and add that other distortion, which is on a saturate. Then we're going to go ahead and add another filter. So you can start to see here that in some cases it's starting to give it some nice, deeper, richer undertones, but it's not enough. So the next thing that we'll go into is the filter, which is just doing another boost, I believe. Yeah, so this is alternating between a boost and a notch. So it's kind of doing this. And again, this is just to kind of give it some extra movement. Now all this stuff is going to become more prominent from turning on the fat shader, which we are modulating the drive and modulating the color. Then we've got a notch filter. Same thing as here, just in an effect form. You can see here that we're modulating the cutoff and the resonance. Then we've got ourselves a slice EQ. And this is a custom filter, so if you didn't know, Slice EQ can create custom filters just by coming in here and creating the points. And then what I've done is, if you set this over here this way and grab the modulators from the outside, then you can apply those to the cutoff, gain, any parameter that's within Slice EQ. So you end up getting 2 boosts, a notch, and that ends up giving you some really interesting stuff. Next up, I'm not really going to explain this patch. I have this patch for sale through the Eternum 2 pack, but this is going to be pretty much just a repeat of everything I just described, but just to like the extreme. Okay, so I'm not going to explain everything, but you can see here just by taking a look, I'm going to go ahead and scroll into this, that we've got a gain where we're lowering everything. We are doing filtering, and then we're distorting, and then we're filtering. And then if we scroll over here on the low band, it's kind of the same thing. We are making sure that the width is in mono. Then we're turning down the gain as well on this, and kind of just doing the same aspect of more filtering, format filter, distortion, compress the heck out of it to try to balance the sound out, and then more filtering. Same thing with the high end, although we did add a bit of reverb, but you see here that I'm automating that, turning that up a bit, distortion, and then reverb on the high end. distortion, dynamics, and then limiting. So from that, you can see that it is a lot, but at the same time, it is the combination of distortion, filtering, compression in any particular order that really brings the sound out. And now we've got something like this. I'm going to reintroduce the limiter at this point just because it's going to help us. Now on here, I've actually gone and done something a little bit different. This is just for space, but it's not necessary, but I've added another reverb and a filter on the mid band. There is no low, or there is no like high band. It's just everywhere, anywhere between 250 Hertz. And that's how we get those cool moments of having stereo. So you automate that. The multipass is going to bring up some of the high end, which is an OTT. It's just overachiever with the super low and super high band turned off here and here. And then you've got your patch. Now, there are a couple of macros on here, but they're not really that important. This one is just to automate the speed, as you can see here whenever this is turned up. This is a notch filter that's actually stagnant, so I believe it's right here. And so whenever I turn that up, it'll move on its own. That's for just scooping out the low mids to make the bass usable. The other thing is that this is the mix knob for the Cohen sound rack. It's not a real Cohen sound rack. It just, you know, it's just a stupid name, but that's what I'm trying to accomplish here, is to kind of get some cool movement on the mid band and the high band in order to kind of create something like that. And then we can go from having kind of a clean sound to our super filtered sound. But you can see here that through a combination of effects, it really comes down to just kind of knowing them and knowing how to build a relationship between those. You can use wavetable, you can use FM, you can use AM, you can use a lot of different things in order to create harmonics, but sometimes starting from one single harmonic and then building that off of forcing things using the artifacts that you get from abusing effects can sometimes be super desirable. So now that you have all of this, I would encourage you to try to replace the waveform and see what else you can get. I don't really know what's going to happen, but you know, we can try with a super crazy detuned saw wave and see if it's any cooler. Still pretty cool. I like the sine wave better, but you can pretty much replace that with anything because the whole effect rack is set up. So that's pretty much it for you guys. Try to think outside the box when you're coming into making super crazy basses and all that, and see what comes out. If you got something cool to show me, throw it in the Discord and I'd be happy to take a look at it. Or if you have any more questions on neuro-based stuff, you know where to look. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.